Hello and welcome to the Smut Shame podcast, where we talk about all things erotica, smut, sex, and everything our parents would be ashamed of.
Please expect us to be really nasty in this podcast.
I'm Amrita, and I am from That Sassy Thing, and I lead all things content here, so I basically think, write, and talk sex.
I am Riddhi. I'm a reader, writer, and a full-time yapper on Instagram. I absolutely love yapping. I'm also quite judgmental in real life, so online I like reviewing things.
So is that what they're calling people who are judgmental now?
Absolutely, they review things.
So Riddhi, where did we come up with this idea of a smut shame?
I think because I'm someone who doom scrolls on Instagram a lot, and smut is all over the place these days. Literally every reel I see, also because I am a reader. So Instagram algorithm is tailored that way. Every reel has a smut reference in it.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's rather unusual because smut was referred to as something obscene now, but now it's being talked about widely. So I think there's a lot we can explore. And it's also spicy, so I like it that way also.
Yeah, that's where I come in, because we're talking about sex and pleasure.
Yeah.
And I think that's the main question I have. Why do people read smut? Because I think if you look at the readers community, a lot of people wouldn't claim to being smut readers.
Yeah.
I know a lot of lit friends who would say that they'll read all of these classic literature, they'll read Russian literature, but nobody will ever claim to read smut. Yeah. So why do people read smut?
Yeah, I think I'm kind of out of that zone now where I say I'm only into classic literature, I'm not into anything else. I'm into anything that offers me a good story. And I honestly think that that's the difference between smut and porn also. Yeah. Smut is not just about pleasure, or it's not just about sex, it's about the story, it's about characters, it's about different tropes that are lovely, right? So I think that for me is a very big reason for reading smut, because of the story and how hooking the story is in itself.
But I've read a lot of people say on the internet that smut is just sex scenes with a little bit of story drizzled in, right? It's just the point of smut is pleasure. I mean, I've seen a lot of people also gain a lot from smut, right? It's a sort of sex ed, because you're reading about the kind of things, kind of kinks, fantasies, fetishes that you've not heard of before. But when you're reading it, you're like, is this something I'm into? Yeah. Maybe, right? Yeah. I think that's another reason that I would read smut, to be introduced to these things. I came across this other thing on the internet, right? So it's called the misattribution of arousal. Yeah. So it's the same thing that when people watch horror movies, and they can also feel a little turned on when they watch horror movies, because the feelings of arousal and the feelings of fear or nervousness are similar, when it comes to physiological changes in your body, right? Yeah. So I remember I used to do this one thing, and I can't believe I'm saying this out loud, but when I was a kid and I was really, really scared of ghosts and horror movies, but when you're with the cousins, you have to watch these movies, you have to sit through them. And for the next 2 weeks, my mom would have to sleep next to me, right? Because, terrified.
Do that.
But as I grew up and she couldn't do that anymore, I figured out another way. I would read smut. I would actually read smut to distract myself from these thoughts, horrible thoughts and seeing ghosts in my eyes. And I would think about sex and fall asleep. So, confession, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, if we're doing confessions, and also smut has great story, but I think I also read it for distraction, to be honest, because I think being an adult, and especially if you're someone who's doing a 9 to 5, it can be very exhausting. It can also be super boring and mundane. So if I'm reading about a mafia falling in love with a woman and then them making out, I'm reading that in a metro, that definitely makes my life 100% more interesting.
Yeah.
And it is not that interesting, either way. So I love reading smut because of that also. It offers me this another interesting, adventurous world that I can be a part of.
I have a fun game for you. So I came across some really interesting smut words, and I really want you to guess what each word means.
Okay.
Netherlips.
I'm going to answer that in a different way. I think they're definitely not talking about the lips. People think that they're talking about. It's
Yeah. Are you shy saying the words out loud? Because I can say it.
Yeah, it's. I feel like my guilty metro reading has come to life here.
The next word, I'm trying so hard not to laugh. Monolith.
Nice. So let's talk about the structure of a monolith first, right? Like this straight, long thing. And let's now think what it resembles. Like, what is the last straight, long thing?
I'm thinking of like refrigerators.
Yeah. No, I'm not thinking refrigerators. I'm thinking more of like something I saw recently. Something that's much more private. Refrigerator is not that private. But
Something you saw recently.
yeah. Wonder what it is.
We'll keep the audience guessing.
Yeah.
What are hangers?
Okay, this one I'm really confused about. This one this is wild guessing. Hangers. Okay. Is it like is it are we talking about like a position here?
That's an interesting question.
Yeah, are we talking about like a position where
No.
we're not?
No.
Because like no, okay, because you're like hanging in a position and like you're all wobbly doing something.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people tied up. I've read a lot of people have been tied up in smart books, but it's not hanging.
Oh,
It's not that kind of hangers. I'll tell you what they are.
Yeah.
You'll be really shocked.
okay.
Testicles.
Oh my god. Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So-
Very interesting.
Yeah, smart writers get very creative.
Yeah.
And here's the last.
I think we have some ideas also for smart writers because I think that
Yeah, now hangers can also be a position.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I think that's a great
did
idea.
we just coin a literary term?
I think we're
Oh my
Shakespeare.
god, yeah. Slutty Shakespeare.
Slutty.
Naughty Shakespeare.
Oh my god, this sounds like a porn website.
Yeah.
Let us not go there.
Yeah.
The last word, mountains.
Now, by the shape of it, I would talk about two mountains. Yeah. Yeah.
It's a range.
It's two mountains, and mountains in all shapes are beautiful.
Yes.
All shapes, small, big,
round.
yes, round,
And
different shapes, different sizes. Yeah,
Both
yeah.
mountains can also be
Yeah.
different sizes, right? I think that's
Yeah,
very normal.
yeah. It's about.
Yeah. Body positivity.
Wow, I love how even beat. It is body positivity. It is.
And
yeah.
it's also boots. You're
Yeah,
right.
It's boots.
So, you mentioned porn.
Yeah.
And it makes me wonder, right? Like, I've read that almost 80 to 90% of readers for smut and erotica are women.
Yeah.
Why do you think that's the case? Why aren't men coming to read smut? Or why aren't women watching porn instead of reading smut?
Yeah. I think porn can be very violent at times. From like a very personal experience, it can be very violent. It's too like in your face, and there's hardly any story. I mean, we all know the basic storylines, that plumber and all of that. It's just not creative enough, right? I think with regards to smut, it's much more creative. B, it's less violent. It is violent, but it, in a sense that it has a story to it, and the woman also has like some sense of power, right? And yeah, it's also not really into your face. It's about you. You take the control. It's your imagination. So you like visualize the characters and imagine them the way you want to.
Right.
So you have that freedom also.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's a storyline to it. There's romance. There's a build up. It's not just like directly in your face that two people banging.
Now that you say build up, I remember reading somewhere like someone once said that it's not about the sex. It's not really about the sex. It's about the tension. It's about the build up. For a lot of women, I think it's not even the actual act, but it's just the tension itself.
Yeah.
And I really enjoy that tension myself too. Like when I'm reading something smutty, something naughty.
Yeah.
I don't want to really know where the monolith is going up which nether lips.
Yeah.
I just care about, like, you know, when he pushes you up against the wall.
Oh
and
yeah,
things like
those phrases they use.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I think that tension is what people crave.
I think another really cool thing that I've seen in smut is it focuses on the details of it. I think that's something that hooks me in. So the man is like they're constantly asking each other, do you like this? Do you like this? Do you like?
Right.
And now that's very subtle. Asking someone, do you like it? Like, it's a way of knowing if they're like really into it.
Yeah.
And
it's
there's
just consent.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah.
continuously just checking in on the other person.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that.
Yeah. Now, we've talked about porn, we've talked about smut, but I think there's one word that one genre was totally like flipped out on, which is erotica.
Yeah.
Right? And erotica is, I would say, the original, like, god of all things.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everything that is a little bit sexual is called Sorry.
Sorry to the mic.
I apologize to the mic. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But everything sexual comes under the umbrella of erotic.
Yeah.
So, what do you think then is the difference between erotica and smut? Is it the same thing? Are they different?
Yeah.
What are your answers?
Yeah. I think that erotica is more like an umbrella term, an umbrella form of literature or art for that matter. And I feel like smut is a part of it. So erotica is like more of the umbrella term. Now erotica is a lot about, the feelings of the characters and the art of like, just the art of having sex, the feelings behind it, the story behind it, and it's much more artistic in its expression itself. And that then has like different categories. So in smut, it's much more about, let's say, the pleasure, sex, and little less about the plot of it. Erotica, in the other hand, focuses much more on the storyline, on the like growth of characters and all of that.
So what do you like more, erotica or smut?
I think personally, because I love literature in general, I love erotica. So something that was very interesting that I found out recently was that erotica is really old. It's not a new concept altogether. So a lot of people know about Kama Sutra, but what they really don't know, so people think that Kama Sutra is about different positions of sex, and it's just that.
That whole Gajagamani walk.
All of that, right? But it's about so much more. Kama Sutra is actually also like a guiding document on how to really treat sex as an art. It's about how a woman deserves pleasure as much as a man does, how a woman can attain pleasure, right? It's about different positions and how they make you feel.
Right.
And it's about so much more than just that. It's about the art of it. And I think that also, for me, explains what erotica is. Right. It's not just sex, it's the art of it, it's the story behind it and all of that.
Oh, I see. Oh, these are so cute.
Very cute.
I didn't know they could make croissants so
like
tiny.
shells also. Mini shells.
Yeah, they look like mini shells.
Oh,
When I see these, it's so cute.
Wow. Nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do not talk with your mouth.
Yeah.
Full.
Yes.
But yeah, going back to Kama Sutra, I've never read it.
Yeah.
I really want to. Is it worth it? I have a copy at home.
Yeah.
Is it worth it?
It absolutely is. I think so if you've read a lot of modern books now, and if you've read a lot about smut or other stuff, so you might already know a lot of things that might have been mentioned here.
Right.
Just to experience the feeling that something so revolutionary was written back then, right? I think that feeling in itself, for me, I read it for that. I read it to understand that,
Right.
people were talking about sex
way
and sex
back.
positivity way back then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's really interesting.
Yeah.
I also, that brings me back to the question that, like, a lot of people don't take erotica seriously.
Yeah.
And they don't take smut seriously. But as you said, it ranges all the way back to the Kama Sutra.
Yeah.
I came across this really fun fact, and I'm going to read it out because I don't want to miss out any crucial detail. So the New York Public Library, they wanted to collect life as it was lived.
Yeah.
Right? So in the 1970s, a small team of librarians were sent out to Times Square to pornography shops to scoop up representative samples of the latest erotica.
Yeah.
So now the New York Public Library has an archive of erotica.
Wow.
It doesn't get more legitimate than that, I think. Like, some of the titles are like Animal Urge, The 48-Hour Orgy. That sounds very long. And now
48 hours. How are you supposed to do it for 48 hours?
I think we'll take some breaks in between, like a coffee break in between.
Yeah.
But now the library boasts one of the country's finest collections in American gay history because they did not discriminate and they collected erotica of all kinds. So I think that's really interesting. I don't think it gets more legitimate than that.
Yeah.
Do we have any instances from India?
We do actually. I think I'm going to spoil Ruskin Bond for a lot of people today.
Ruskin Bond.
Yeah. So whenever people like imagine Ruskin Bond, they're like, cute writer, nice childhood memories. But little did we know, Ruskin Bond had actually written a text called The Essentialist, and he almost went to jail for it because it had erotic references, right, to the story. And there was actually an FIR filed against him for that. And when I read about this, I was shell-shocked because I was like, Ruskin Bond was being naughty.
See, I think that tells you that anybody can be naughty.
Yeah, and
anybody can.
Yeah, it's beautiful also, right? I think another. I think you were mentioning a play to me the other day.
Yeah. So when I was really young, okay, not really young. Why did I say that? Like I'm in 7th grade or something. So we have a mutual friend. And I went to watch a play with her in undergrad. And it was a very intellectual crowd because this was a play written and directed by Nasruddin Shah, and it was on Ismat Chughtai's life. I had not heard of Ismat Chugtai before that. And when I watched the play, I realized what an inspiring woman she is. I went back and I read a lot of the things she's written. Very erotic stuff and very sapphic stuff too. The Lihaf was one of her stories. It was very interesting. I think that can also be one of my sexual awakenings, if I can be honest. But I think it was really inspiring to read, like a Muslim woman writing about like female pleasure specifically.
Which is not only focusing on pleasure.
Context here, like what year are we talking? Like what? Like 1920s, 30s.
Yeah, at that time, being able to talk about such things, and she faced consequences for that. Like there was a court case, and there's an entire story of Manto supporting her through that journey when she had that court case. But how cool! I mean, we think that it's something new.
Erotica is not new at all. I mean, it's been around. People have been. We can go to temples itself and see a lot of these sculptures, right? And you see erotic art. So eroticism is everywhere. So it's obviously in literature too. And it's not new that women are reading smut or erotica, and I'm glad it stuck around.
If we're talking about women reading smut, I have another confession to make. So my family might be watching this, so I'll be very indirect about it. So back in the day, these magazines used to you could find these magazines in every other Indian household. Greh Lakshmi, right? And there were other magazines, I'm forgetting their name, Bahurani or something of that sort. Now, these magazines were designed so smartly. There'll be like recipes and cute little things for women, like fashion designs. And in the middle of that, right in the middle of that magazine, there'll be like a story. And that story, might I add, was not about kitchen or about like nuskhas and all of that. That story was about pleasure. That story was like a woman, mostly a housewife, just, reinventing herself, like finding ways to give herself pleasure. And I got to know that a lot of women in my family used to actually read that. And no one ever raised any problem about it because it was designed that way. The magazine is called Greh Lakshmi. Now, you wouldn't think that like a Greh Lakshmi has like a naughty story in between, but it did. And boy, was it. It was very, I think it was sensational for that time. And it was great that my grandparents were also reading.
This is kind of like an open secret almost, I think, in families. It reminds me of that scene from Lipstick Under My Burqa. With Ratna Pathak Shah. Like she was, I don't really exactly remember this. Do you remember it?
Yeah, she's reading this. She used to read these stories particularly where a woman used to sort of go out and probably, I think she's seeking out a young boy in that particular, something of that sort. But I think Lipstick Under My Burqa also, no, it did not only talked about eroticism or like erotica, but also how even if you're old, you can have fantasies and it's okay to like give into those fantasies, right?
Yeah,
And I think those booklets, little booklets, are like tools for you to sort of reinvent yourself. And I think that's absolutely beautiful.
It's very powerful, and I kind of feel the chills now.
Yeah.
But just to wrap up the episode, I think let's give our viewers some like recommendations. I am not the reader of this duo, quite ironically having a podcast on reading. So I'm gonna give you guys some suggestions on like websites you can check out. So back in my day, and I'm only 24 years old.
How old are you, Amrita? Back in the day.
I'm 24 years old. But
back in our day.
Yeah. So I don't know if it's as popular anymore, but like I used to read a lot of Wattpad and
You were a Wattpad girly, were you not? So surprising.
And I'll tell you, like, it got to the point where I would read spoof on Wattpad about Wattpad books, right? People would write spoof on Wattpad storylines. So I read a lot of Wattpad. There's also Archive of Our Own, still going strong. There's, I think, if you go way further back, Lit Erotica, like that's pretty big. And you have a lot of new websites too. Like there's Bellesa, which is more focused on women.
Love Bellesa.
Yeah. There's these, there's also these audio porn apps. Like there's Quinn. That's a new up and coming audio porn app. And there's also this one subreddit called Gone Wild Audio. Just to shout out.
Reddit is a crazy place, dude.
Yeah, Reddit is crazy. So these are my recommendations, and these are the corners of the internet I reach out to. But you go ahead.
I'm actually going to, I had written some recommendations, so I'm going to open it and read it out. Now, I am a vanilla smut girly through and through, so I'm going to give those recommendations.
And if you want to go deeper and darker, check out Reddit, check out the internet. Book Talk, it's everywhere.
Yeah, so I'm going to talk about, a recent read that I absolutely loved was The Kiss Quotient, because it has a very good build-up. It doesn't really, and also like the story in itself is like very unique, and it's all vanilla romance and all things nice. It happened one summer, similar vibe, a very vanilla romance, but also it will give you what you're looking for. So the sex is like sensational, but there's a very good build-up to it. The wedding date. I think we all love these tropes, right? Where
like someone proximity. And
also like you go on a wedding when you're not really expecting it, and it just happens all of a sudden. So the wedding date. If you want to get like a little more wild, then The Archer's Voice is like a very good recommendation that I also came across. And on the wilder side, I'll recommend Archer's Voice or Bed to you. And like on more of like a vanilla romance or nice things side, The Wedding Date, It Happened One Summer, that kind of books.
Nice. Yeah. I might pick up one of these books one of these days, because it's been a while since I've read a book.
These are the book reviews that matter.
I agree. And on that note, I think we can wrap this up and see you guys next time. See you next time. If you like to listen to us yap and want to hear more of it, subscribe to us on YouTube and follow us on Instagram.